If you've ever reached a point where the hope finally runs out, where your body knows before your mind does, this one may land hard. Take a breath. You're safe here.
Okay, hey, this is Francisca and this is my mid-crisis life, and today is Crisis Confessionals. So there is so much that I want to talk about today. There is so much that I feel like I need to cover and get off my chest. And I really don't want to be standing here for 45 minutes just talking at you about the disaster that is my life, right? But it's all got to be said. I feel like it's all relevant, yeah? So what I've done is I've written stuff down because I feel like it just could be easy for me to go off on a tangent and forget the bits that are important and just the thread of my thought process around this, because it's just overwhelming, it's completely overwhelming. So I'm going to try and be as succinct as I possibly can because there's a lot to get through to get to the fucking point that I'm making. So just bear with me, basically. Bear with me today. Okay, someone's ringing my doorbell. Okay, anyway, so let's get into it. All right, so anybody that watches this, people will know that when I came back from Costa Rica, I didn't have anywhere to go. My mum took me in, and I'm really, really grateful that she did that. She gave me it was just I didn't have to worry for that moment in time. I didn't have to know what I was doing. I didn't have to make any plans, and I really, really, really appreciate that. However, as much as I appreciate that my mum took me in, I also acknowledge that she did throw me out. So she took me and my kids in, and she also threw me and my kids out. And, I made a lot of videos over that time about the kind of situation that we were living in and the really oppressive atmosphere that it was and how she was just really bullying my kids, particularly my youngest son, who's a bit more loquacious. He's and anyway, whatever, I'm not going to get into it. And in the end, the reason why my mum threw us out on the street was because I finally just said no. I said, no, you cannot talk to my son like that. You're an adult. He's a child. You cannot behave that way. No, it's not because of him. No, it's not because he needs to change. No, it's not because you're just simply reacting to his behavior. And no, no one is bullying you. And no, this is not a conspiracy. Just basically, there is absolutely no justification for you as an adult to behave in that way towards a child. And it needs to stop. Stop. And my mom's response to that was, get the fuck out of my house, right? So, okay, all of that happened. We moved out. We were homeless. Whatever. My mom then invited us back for family dinner, right? It literally took 3 family dinners for this to all fall apart. And what happened was, I was homeless. I was still working like a crazy person. My adult son is very reliant on me being balanced, right? On me being consistent, right? In my behavior. Okay, so all of that happened, and then my mum invited us to family dinner, right? And we got about 3 family dinners in before it all went to shit. And basically what happened was my son was really struggling with the transition. I was exhausted. We'd moved house. I had to buy all new stuff. I didn't even have spoons, you know what I mean? And I was still working at a job that was a 60, 70 hour a week job that was completely exhausting, and I just didn't really have the time or the tolerance for my son. And when I'm like that and I can't deal with his constant needs, he then reacts badly, and basically he was just being awful and aggressive and having constant autistic meltdowns, and I was exhausted. And I went there and I explained all of this, and my mum's answer to that was to say, well, maybe he just doesn't understand and he just can't behave different. And I'm like, okay, so he's too disabled to not be abusive towards me. Okay, well, how comes he can control himself with other people? Oh, he's scared of certain people. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, how about the people that he's not scared of? Oh, well, it's just how children treat their parents, and then decided to tell me that I was awful to her. And when I challenged that and said, that's because you were really abusive as a parent, told me, I don't really know what you're talking about. You were never abused. You were just an awful child. So from that, I decided, what is going on? Okay, I start doing a video, someone rings my doorbell, then I come back on the video and someone calls me, and then I come back on the video and then an alarm pops up. I'm like, am I not supposed to be talking about this? I don't give a shit, it's happening anyway. Anyway, so after that I went away and I just decided, you know what? I don't want to be in relationships like this anymore. Actually, what I want is I want to be protected and I want to be cherished. And I had sent a message to my mum that basically said as much. And I was very nice and kind and compassionate about it. And I said, I still love you and I get that you're not able to do it. And if at any point in time you feel that you are able to give me the type of love that I really, really am looking for now, then my door is always open. My mum's response to that was to completely ignore me, to have absolutely no acknowledgement, no response, no reaction whatsoever. And then 5 days later, tell my son, well, your mum don't want nothing to do with me anymore, so I don't expect you to be coming to family dinners. And I'm like, again, he's 14. This is not an appropriate way to behave. And it's just kind of making my fucking point for me. Anyway, over these last 11 months, I made a list of all of the things that have been going on in my life over these last 11 months. So let's see. I was made homeless. I was put in temporary accommodation. I was then battling for services for my son because all of his services got locked off. Not that he was actually even having any in the first place, but he basically got put to the back of the queue again in this new place that we were living. My adult son has been consistently abusive. I've put boundaries up and basically lost all of or many of the friendships that I had because I just finally decided to say, I'm not involving myself in these one-sided relationships. My adult son put in a boundary with his paternal family because of how abusive they are to him, and then they started stalking him, and I had to deal with all of that. My youngest son got robbed at knife point on the train. I was then moved again into a different temporary accommodation. I've had to constantly fight with the local authority via my MP for my son to be able to have access to his services, for us to be put in an area where he can have access to those services. I then faced major issues when I moved into this house that took, 11 visits from 8 different engineers to come and deal with. And then most recently, my friend died. These are all the things I've been through. My mum's not been there through any of it. She's not once asked me if I'm okay. She's not once contacted me to see how my life is going on. She's not once responded in a compassionate manner, even when she's been aware of all of these issues that have been going on. She knows that I moved back. She knows that I'm fighting for services. She knows that my friend died. I'd hold it to her face when I picked my son up there one time. Anyway, she's not done that. Instead, what she did do is, after she threw me out and didn't call me to see where I was, where my kids were, if we had a bed to sleep on, what was going on, if we were okay, when I turned up to pick up all of my stuff after we'd finally been given some temporary accommodation, she instead told me about how much of a wonderful time she'd been having over those past 8 or 9 days or whatever it was, and that she'd been to the theatre and she'd been out for meals and that she'd seen all of her friends and that she'd been having an absolutely amazing time. Not only have I not had any support, not only does my mum not feel the need to contact me at all, I've done all of this while raising a teenager with ADHD and mental health issues. I've been doing it while being a full-time carer to my adult son. I've been doing it while working full-time in a really pressurized and emotionally confronting, a very emotive job. I've been doing it whilst running my own business, while being a single parent, and by turning up every week making content here. So there's a lot going on for me. There is one person who has been supportive throughout this time. This is a really old friend of my mum's who's known me my whole life. They've had a friendship for the last 40 years. She calls herself my godmum. This is a person who consistently contacts me and asks me if I'm okay. For example, when I moved in and there was no heating or hot water because the boiler was broken and we didn't have any heating or hot water for nearly 3 weeks, she was the one contacting me. Hey, what's going on with the engineer? Has anything happened with the boiler? You really need to speak to your landlord friend, blah, 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 blah. She's the one that calls up and asks how my son's doing at school. What Josh's mood has been like. Do I feel like I need anything more? She's the one that turned up when I moved and cleaned my whole house and bought me little bits, just to make the house feel like a little bit more homely, like it wasn't just this empty shell of a council house that I was moving myself and my kids into. She's been the person who's been supportive, right? And it's really ironic because I had a conversation with my brother literally last week. So all of this has been going on over the past 11 months. And inside those 11 months, my brother has asked me to help him move 3 times. 3 times I've filled my car up with all of his stuff, taken a day and a half off of work, carried his things from the car to the thing, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, okay, it's only a small amount of stuff that we're moving. It's one room, but 3 times I've done the 4-hour round trip, to wherever it is that he's moving. And I've done it with kindness and caring and compassion every single time. He's not once offered me money for petrol, anything, just anything, right? He contacted me again and asked me, can I help him move again? And you know what my answer was? Yeah, no, sorry, I'm not going to do that. That I just moved house with an entire house full of stuff. And I did it just myself and my oldest son. We carried everything. We did 8 trips, 8 fucking trips, plus paid for someone to carry all of my big heavy furniture, and nobody fucking said a peep. Nobody said anything. I'm not willing to help you on this occasion anyway. Much to my surprise and dismay, I was called a victim, having a victim mentality, that, it's my fault if I'm not content with the life that I chose for myself, that it's my fault if I don't ever ask for any help, that basically it's all my fault and I'm this passive aggressive, ungrateful, whatever, right? Which is basically what's happened every single time I've said to someone, no, I'm not going to continue in these one-sided relationships. I'm not doing it. With love, I'm not doing it, right? So that conversation happened. My brother kept on trying to tell me that I was being passive aggressive. So I sent him a voice note in the end because I was like, you know what? Sometimes things get lost in translation in text messages and people read it with whatever tone it is that they're feeling at the time, rather than the tone that it's met with. So actually, why don't you listen to my tone when I talk and clearly explain to you that I'm not being passive aggressive, that I'm not angry, that I don't see myself as a victim, and that actually I'm quite content with my life, having been a single parent for the last 22 years and having minimal support from the people around me. I'm good. I'm used to it. I'm okay. Didn't get any response. And then I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to give you an example that I hope is going to illustrate what it is that I'm trying to say to you. So I sent him another voice note, and it said, basically, here's an example. So when I turned 40, a few weeks, maybe 5 or 6 weeks beforehand, I sent you a message and invited you to come to this festival with me. I said, this is how I want to spend my 40th. Can you come? I'd really love you to be there. You said to me, I'll think about it and I'll let you know. And then never, ever, ever brought it up again. Never mentioned it, never asked me about it, never got back to me, nothing. In the time in between, when I asked you to come and when my actual birthday was, you asked to borrow money off of me about 3 or 4 times, right? Then on my actual birthday, never messaged me, never sent me anything, never acknowledged it, nothing, right? In fact, didn't message me and say happy birthday for another 3 weeks. And that was only because my mum messaged him and said, hey, you've missed your sister's birthday. And what I was explaining to him was this. It's not about me being upset or, oh, you didn't come to my birthday or you didn't message me or you didn't get me anything, all that kind of petty shit. What I was explaining is this. When you turned 40, I could not think of wanting to be anywhere else. I was like, my brother is turning 40. This is such a massive thing. I want to celebrate with him. Where are you? What are you doing? Where are you going? How can I celebrate with you? What do you want? What do you need? Like, is there anything I can do? I looked after you on your 40th birthday when you lost your mind and got so drunk and cussed out all your friends, and I fucking stood up for you and what it is that you were saying and took you out of your puke covered fucking shirt. Like, I did that. You know why? Because you're important to me. Because I think of you. Because I keep you in mind. That's why I behave the way that I do. Who is keeping me in mind? Who's thinking about me? Who's thinking about my kids? Who's contacting me and saying, hey, what you got going on? Are you okay? Do you need any help? Would you like me to come down and look after the boys for a night so maybe you could go somewhere else and do something else with your life? Like, nobody's thinking about me. And this is what I'm talking about. And I've got to a point where I'm tired of asking for it. I'm tired of wishing that I have it. I'm tired of being desperate to be loved in that way. And I'm just giving what people give me. It's as simple as that. I'm not mad at you. I'm not angry. I still love you. Like, and I would love for our relationship to be different, but it's not. Anyway, I had that conversation with my brother literally a day before this thing happened. So on Saturday last week, this woman, who is my mum's friend and has been my mum's friend for 40 years and has seen me grow up, and is the only person who keeps me in mind, contacted me and told me this. So her daughter is in a band, and her daughter does some performances around the place. The last time her daughter did a performance, this woman called me and she said to me, I'm really sorry. My daughter invited your mum, and your mum has told us categorically, if you're there, she's not coming. I'm like, oh. Okay, well, that's interesting because it was only yesterday that she was about to turn up to my son's football match, knowing full well that I was there. So I'm not really sure what that's about. But okay, listen, if that's the way that she feels, no issue. I'll sit it out. It doesn't bother me. However, please know that I've got no issue with being around my mum at all. Yeah? So on this occasion, this person gave me first refusal. In addition, this person had just invited me down to her son's house, which is somewhere else in the country. And she did it because she knew how much pressure I'd been under, how difficult it was being a carer to my son. She knew that my friend had just passed away and that had hit me really hard. And she was like, come down. I'm going to treat you. I'm going to take you out. We're going to go for a meal. I'm going to take you to the theatre. Just come and have a break. I'm going to look after you. So she had asked me why we were there. Do you think that we should invite your mum to this thing? And I'm like, listen, I've got no issue with it. Like, if she wants to come, honestly, I don't mind. In fact, actually, you know, we've been having some perfectly amicable conversations recently about, you know, various practical stuff, but whatever, like, I don't think it's a problem. Like, I don't really see the problem. So this person contacted my mum and said, hey, you know, listen, my daughter's performing on this day. I'm coming, friend's coming. But, you know, it'd be nice. She said that things aren't too bad between the two of you. It'd be nice if you could be there also. My mum responded and said, well, your husband has already invited me. To which my mum's friend said, well, you know, I don't really know what my husband does or who he messages or whatever, because they don't live together, right? They're married, but they're separated, but they're still not separated. It is what it is, right? It works for them. So she's like, I don't really know what he does or what he doesn't do. My mum's response to that was, for me, the relationship is over. I don't want to be your friend anymore. And she called me up and she told me this on the Saturday. And the thing is, right, it's such a small thing. And to all intent and purpose, it doesn't really involve me directly. This is my mum and her friend, and my mum deciding to end a 40-year friendship with this person. But actually, really, when you deep it, right, when you read between the lines, when you actually understand the context, the subtext of what is being said by my mum doing that, is my mum is essentially saying to my friend, if you have a relationship with my daughter, if you include her, if you continue to help her and to hold her in mind, I don't want nothing to do with you. Like, my mind fucking boggles at that shit. That you'd be so callous to effectively try and isolate me and your own grandchildren from the only person who's actually trying to support us is beyond, it's beyond cruel. It's fucking beyond cruel, man. To know what I've been going through as a person and to still say, well, it's me or her. And if it's not me, I'm willing to end this 40-year friendship with you. I want you to ostracize my child. And it's like punishment by proxy. You know what I'm saying? I've done something that my mum doesn't like. And not only that, I've decided that I don't want to have a relationship with her and seem to be getting on with my life. And not only that, I'm getting on with my life and I have people who, or at least one person who is trying to support me and care about me and love me. And you want to make an ultimatum to that person that it's you or me. It's fucking mind-blowing. It's absolutely fucking mind-blowing. Anyway, I was just flabbergasted and heartbroken. And I don't even think it's me that's heartbroken, right? Like, me as an adult, I'm like, sounds about right. Like, it's probably the smaller of all the things that my mum's done to me. But that child in me that was always holding out hope that at some point my mum might love me, that at some point my mum might cherish me, that at some point my mum might want to protect me, she's fucking heartbroken. She's actually shattered into pieces. She really is. And it's really sad. No, it's really sad. It's really heartbreaking. Anyway, as God does, sometimes he puts words in my head. And I woke up one morning with the word deleterious in my head. And I'm like, I don't really know this word yet. Let me look it up and see what it means. Anyway, I wrote it down. Let's have a look. Deleterious keeps on going around in my mind. When's this? 3rd of November. Dictionary definition: causing harm or damage. The example given: divorce is assumed to have deleterious effects on children. It really does, because I've been through it. Synonyms: harmful, damaging, detrimental, injurious, inimical, hurtful, bad, adverse, disadvantageous, unfavorable, unfortunate, undesirable, destructive, pernicious, which means having a harmful effect in a gradual way, yeah, ruinous. And the opposite, the antonym of that, is beneficial. And I'm like, well, don't that just fucking kind of say it all? Don't that say it all? It's everything. It's everything that's going on, and it's everything that my mum has done in my life. And as I say, this is, of all the things, like, such a small, tiny thing that my mum has done. Like, when I was thinking about this, yeah, I was thinking, what are all of the things that my mum's done? Like, there's so much, yeah, that I've blacked it out. But let me give you just some of the fucking highlights, right? My mum sold my house while I was gone for the week when I was 12. Then she disappeared, and nobody knew where she was. We had to call the police, and my dad had to take us back home, and that was really the last time that we saw her for nearly a year. Then while she was gone and disappeared, she went on the holiday that we were supposed to go on with her, with this woman, actually, who she no longer wants to be friends with, didn't mention anything about what had happened, and then sent us a postcard from this holiday saying, hey, wish you were here. When I was 9, my mum got pissed off, put all of our clothes in black bags, and put us in a taxi with a person who we didn't know, and sent us across London to a house where she didn't even know if my dad was at, yeah, with nobody. Yeah. I then got pneumonia from that. And when I went home to my mum told me to stop acting out. After she disappeared, when I was 12, I went back to see her for the first time, the very first time I'd seen my mum since this episode. My mum threw me backwards into a table, and I now have a missing spinal processor because of it. Right here. No spine. You can't feel it. I also have a scar on my leg where she dug her nails into my leg so hard that she made me bleed, and now I have a constant scar there. She also had a crazy boyfriend from the age of 6 who kidnapped us in our own house, and we had to wrestle him to the ground, and I had to have my head banged off the fucking fireplace over and over again so that my 8-year-old brother could get into his pockets and run out the house and go and call the police, and within a week he was back in my house again. This is a guy who camped outside my front door, yeah, hours, for like a weekend. I think we couldn't get out of the house. He was in the fucking porch, right? And then when he finally left the house, called the house back in the day when you couldn't fucking hang up unless the other person hung up, and every time you picked up the phone, you'd just hear him going, Barbara. Within a week, he was back in the house. This is the person who threw my dinner out of the window, smashed my fucking stereo up, locked me in the kitchen, ripped the fucking doors out, the phones out, anyway, like, never left him. In fact, told me a month ago that she misses going to the theatre with him. She really misses him. This is a woman who regularly meets up with my dad's ex-wife, a woman who I told my mum to her face, said that I should have been aborted, told me that my dad should have aborted me because of how much of a selfish and piece of shit person that I am. But my mum loves to tell me about all the museums that they've been to recently and the lovely cafes that they've frequented on their little day trips out, yeah. This is a person who offered me absolutely no support when I got raped and impregnated, and in fact started telling me that it was my fault because I was such a slag. And then accused me of prostituting for weed 2 weeks after my abortion that she forced me to have. Yeah. And then physically attacked me because I was like, no, I'm not going to get off the phone. I'm being really quiet. And then told me when I asked her to stop attacking me, because I just had a termination, that all I ever do is go on about myself because I'm just such a fucking selfish prick. This is a person who threw me out 2 days after my 18th birthday because she knew the law and said, well, I know they're not going to house you now because you're an adult, so you can get the fuck out of my house. And this is a person who blamed me at the age of 12 for the decision that I made to go and live with my dad after she sold our house, for the decision I made to go and spend the weekend with my dad because I hadn't seen him for 6 to 9 months. And that doesn't include all of the spiteful and unkind and cruel and bullying behaviour that I suffered at the hands of my mum every single day. It doesn't include just the simplistic awareness that I had that my mum had no love and no care for me. And it doesn't include the constant psychological warfare that I was under as a child because of my warring parents who wanted to use us as little pawns so that they could win the war. And also the constant mental and emotional abuse that I suffered at the hands of my mum, from having to walk on eggshells, from having to try to please her, from never ever fucking being good enough, yeah. I saw this video the other day where this guy was like, oh, someone said something to me the other day and it's like a fucking epiphany. Children treat their parents how their parents treated them as a child. And I'm like, well, obviously, that's not a fucking epiphany moment, but sure, like, whatever. Wherever you're at, but like, like, obviously, yeah. But you know what it made me think about? It made me think about the fact that I have worked so hard not to treat my mum how she treated me as a child. I have overcome so many of my own grievances, so much of my own bitterness, so much of my own toxicity. I've let go of all of the pain and all the suffering and all the fucking abuse that I was subjected to as a child in order to love her. Like, in order to love her anyway. Like, I've worked on myself to break that generational fucking pattern of trauma, that generational abuse. And I've sucked it all up into myself so that my children don't have to experience that. And I've transmuted all of it out of my own body into love, like, so that I don't become her. And I've done it all just so that I can love her, just so that I can be in her life, just so that I can not even forgive her, just function and love in this relationship. Like, I've been so desperate to just be loved by my family, you know, that I've forgiven everything. Like, I really have. I don't have any hate in my heart for my mum anymore. Yeah. But I think what this situation now finally shows, what it's finally done is it's allowed people to see my mum and how my mum treats me for actually what it is. This small, tiny thing is indicative of exactly how she feels for me, exactly what she wants for me, exactly what her hopes and aspirations are for her child. And it shows just that kind of drip, 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 that like constant chiseling away at me and my heart and my self-worth and my self-value and my self-love, to the point where you'd want your friend to also do the same thing. It's mental. So not only that, it's finally showing people that kind of, like, this is what covert abuse is. This is what I've been suffering. So when I behave a certain way, it's not because I'm being reactive. It's not because I'm a bad kid. It's not because I want all of the attention, whatever else. Like, I've worked really hard to understand my mum and to see how broken she is as a person, and to get it, and to just be like, you know what? Like, I get why you behave the way that you are. I understand why you're fucked up. Like, you don't even see how fucked up you are. Like, because of how fucked up you are, you know? It's like, you know, crazy people are the only people who don't think that they're fucking crazy. Like, I get it. But I finally feel now, for me, I'm like, this is the nail in the coffin for me. This is it. This says it all. This fucking says it all. And I feel like I can just finally let go of her. I can finally be free to let go of her without guilt, without obligation. I can finally be free to say goodbye, to cut that cord, you know. I can finally be free to feel like I don't need to protect this woman anymore. Not from herself, not from others, not from me. I'm done. But, you know, I told a friend about this, right? A very wise friend of mine. And, you know, the first thing she said is that she said, I cannot fathom how that innate desire that particularly a mother has, right, to protect their child, the thing that grew inside of them, right, and they brought into the world, that how that innate desire to protect their child can be so easily overridden by their innate desire to protect themselves. And I was like, I don't really think she's trying to protect herself. I think she's just trying to fucking destroy me. Like, I think she's just trying to hurt me. But now I can understand, actually, the action was self-protection, that she probably did feel like, oh my God, Fran's going to ruin my relationship with my friend, or Fran's, this person is going to, like, become some sort of pseudo mother to my daughter and take my daughter away from me, even though this person is doing the things that my mum could never fucking do. Yeah. So I get that her action was out of fear and out of a need to protect herself. Yeah. But ultimately, yeah, her desire to protect herself is at my expense. That she will throw me to the wolves in order to keep herself protected. And I'm sorry, enough is enough. There's no room for any fucking relationship like that in my life. So yeah, that's it, right? Something that I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the fact that I've now got to a point where I'm just like, yeah, I'm free. Like, actually, no, I matter. Like, I matter. I don't care what the fuck has happened to you. Like, I'm done understanding you. I'm free to live my life. And I feel like this is the burgeoning of a whole new period. Like, I feel like this is the last thing that really needed to go, that I cannot grow and that I cannot become everything that I feel like I'm capable of becoming with my mum and all of her like suffer shit on top of me. Not happening. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you, God, for aligning things up and bringing this into my life, as painful and as heartbreaking as it's been. So yeah, that's it for today. All of that. That's it. But come back to tomorrow on Monday for Monday Mindset. I'm going to talk a little bit more about like covert abuse, narcissistic parents, what control and coercion is, how it shows up, how anybody who's been in it can feel, and hopefully help to clarify and get some discernment for people who might be going through that. But yeah, that's it.
It wasn't about blame. It was about truth. So if you've lived something like this, share what the nail in the coffin was for you. Tomorrow we look at covert abuse, what it is, why it's invisible, and how to name it so you can finally step free.